I mentioned it jokingly in one of my other videos where I was like kind of purposefully trying to be controversial. But the truth is, I am an atheist, and I'm very kind of, I guess you could say, proud of my atheism. I'm very kind of set in being an atheist, and I feel quite strongly about it. I do have a weird mix of beliefs about religion. I can't quite make up my mind about it. I personally don't feel like I need religion in my life because I don't think it will add anything to my life, and logically and scientifically I don't see any proof for there being any kind of like God or anything like that. So that's why I'm not religious. But when it comes to kind of other people being religious, I have kind of very sort of mixed thoughts and stuff. On the one hand, I'm like, if you want to be religious, you know, you do you, it's completely cool. I get it that it can be like a really nice sort of comforting thing for people. I like that there's kind of often like a community aspect to it, and I think people kind of get a lot out of that, and I like that. But at the same time, I see people who kind of take things sort of too far, and it worries me. And I don't just mean kind of like extremist religions who resort to violence and things like that. I'm not just talking about like, you know, you hear people talking about like crazy Christians and stuff who they like protest outside abortion centres and things like that, and like I'm not talking about those people because they suck. Everyone knows they suck. I'm talking about the people who start to kind of pass off responsibility to God, and they don't really take control of their own life because they assume they've got this figure watching out for them who's gonna, you know, sort it all out. That's the stuff that kind of worries me a bit, and that kind of clouds my opinion of religion, and I don't really know what to think about it. But that's not really what I want to talk about today. That's just a little bit of an introduction to me and my thoughts on kind of religion and atheism and things like that. Just to make it clear, like, I'm not like anti-religion or anything like that. I don't think it's for me. But I quite like to sort of like read atheist articles and things like that, and I like to watch atheist YouTubers. Like, I love Jacqueline Glenn, I love Cosmic Skeptic, all these people. But I was scrolling down Twitter today, and I was looking at the atheism hashtag, because there's often like some sort of like there's some funny bits on there, there's some interesting bits on there, there's some bits on there that make you question things, and you know, I like having my beliefs sort of questioned and challenged a bit, because it makes me kind of think about them, and it sort of strengthens my viewpoint, I guess you could say. But today I found this article called "What's Wrong with Being an Atheist?" And I just kind of want to read through this with you guys today because it's kind of ridiculous, and I don't really understand any of the points that they made. So I thought we could have a look at this. I've not read it in complete detail, I've just skimmed over the headers because I thought we could read it together. But yeah, let's find out what's wrong with me because I'm an atheist. So the article starts out like, you know, fair enough. According to atheists, an atheist is a person who lacks belief in God or gods. However, lacking a belief in God does not necessarily mean that God does not exist. Fair enough. Because I want to give some examples, blah blah blah. Therefore, atheism is a choice. It is a deliberate choice to have a lack of belief in God. Completely fair. I accept that. I think atheism can be a choice. I think atheism is a choice, but I also think it's the kind of rational and logical choice, so that shouldn't really be kind of looked down on, because religion's also a choice. Anyway, the article continues, and it gives these 4 reasons why it's wrong to be an atheist. And the first one says, being atheist is foolish. And then they give a Bible quote. And here's where I have my first problem, because you can't use the Bible to support the Bible. Do you know what I mean? You can't say, oh well, the Bible's true because it says in the Bible. Like, I think that's stupid, and you can't do that. Like, if you can give me some solid proof that the Bible is historically accurate and that everything that the Bible says actually happened, then yeah, you can use the Bible as proof. But until then, stop it. No. Anyway, that aside, it goes on to say, in the Bible, a fool is a person who does not think with God. Therefore, a person behaves foolishly when his thoughts and actions are contrary to the plan, principles, and nature of God. Therefore, when the Bible speaks of a person being a fool, it is not addressing the person's IQ, academic, or professional and educational abilities. So, what you're saying is, a fool is someone who doesn't follow God. If you don't follow God, you're a fool. But to be a fool means you don't follow God. So what you're saying is if you don't follow God, you don't follow God, I think. Because if being a fool means you're not stupider than anyone else or lack any sort of ability, then what's wrong with being a fool? See, the word fool has some pretty negative connotations, but when you define fool as being someone who doesn't follow God, then there's not really anything wrong with that. You can't say if you don't follow God, then you don't follow God. Well, you can say that because it's true. I don't really understand this point. But it goes on to say, so why is atheism foolish? God is spirit, and therefore the things of God can only be spiritually discerned. Atheists only try to understand things from a natural and materialistic viewpoint and ignore the spiritual. However, the natural viewpoint is limited because the things of God can be discerned spiritually. And then another Bible quote, therefore it is no surprise if an atheist finds the things of God to be foolish. An atheist is a natural man who believes in natural things, so he cannot understand the things that are spiritually discerned. Again, where's the criticism? Basically, they're saying, if you're an atheist, you only want to believe in the things that you've got proof of. I see nothing wrong with that. That's how I live my life. Let's move on to the next point. This one's quite funny. Sorry, that was a weird laugh. Point number 2. Atheists have no moral compass. And it literally says atheist have. So Psalms 41 describes a person who says, there is no God, as a person who does abominable works. I can't speak. An abominable work means that an abominable work means something that is exceptionally bad or displeasing, detestable. Atheism itself is abominable because out of atheism come many detestable philosophies, principles, and practices. Can I get some proof of that, please? I know many bad things that have been done in the name of religion. I can't think of many bad things that have been done in the name of atheism. Yeah, there are bad atheists, just like there are bad religious people. I don't think you can say there's a relationship between atheism and detestable acts. Why do atheists lack a moral compass? Atheists have no sense of what's right and what's wrong. To the atheist, the truth can change. I don't think there's anything wrong with morality changing and being redefined. I think to have kind of very sort of strict morals of this is right, this is wrong, it can never change, there's no in between, there's no black and white, I think that's stupid. I think that's impractical. I don't think that's ever gonna make sense. Atheists cannot define what is moral, what is true, and what is acceptable. Why? Because they do not have a timeless moral standard upon which they stand. See, again, you're wrong. Morality comes down to what is right and what is wrong in terms of what's gonna help or hinder individuals or a group of people or things like that. You don't need a religion to say this is right, this is wrong, don't do this, do this, and like have no grey area. You can't do that. Morality is something fluid that changes, and we don't need a religion to tell us whether to do something or not. Or I don't think we should. I think we should be able to look into ourselves and say, is this the right thing to do? But to say that an atheist doesn't have morals at all, I think, is stupid and narrow-minded. After all, the majority of atheists are more likely to believe in the theory of evolution, and therefore most atheists believe that mankind are just animals at their core. Therefore, the concept of man having a conscience or a soul is foolish to atheists, because in the mind of an atheist, man is just an animal at his core. Just like animals, atheists have no basis for truth. Well, yes, humans are animals. That's like scientific, but our brain makeup is very different, and I think the idea that we do have this level of consciousness and we do have a conscience which helps us determine right from wrong. The fact that we are animals doesn't mean we can't have that conscience. If you even look at the basics of neurobiology, you'll know this isn't true. Even if you look at the basics and understand how the brain makes decisions and how it takes into account rational thought and emotions and sort of empathy for others and things like that, you'll understand that, you know, humans can have morals And even though humans on a cellular level are animals, humans have this kind of higher level of decision making. I think it's very naive to think that we can only be good people because of religion, not because of our personal choices. If you're making good choices because you believe they're the right choices to help other people and to help yourself, surely that's a better reason for doing it than saying, I'm doing these good things because God told me to. Anyway, the article goes on to talk about how there have been many people, like there have been loads of bad people who've done bad things who are atheists, so blah blah blah, atheists are bad. Anyway, this video is getting quite long, so I want to kind of wrap this up a bit. But point 3 goes on to say, atheists make themselves God. Atheism creates a terrible deception that if there is no God, then man himself is a God who answers to no one. Again, I see no problem with this. Out of atheism, secular humanism is birthed. The idea of secular humanism is that man can fix himself, man can fix his life, man fix all the problems of the world without help of God. Humanism promotes a self-centered life and not a God-centered life. So-called free thinking is a method to escape accountability for immoral thinking and behaviour. Atheists don't like accountability. Oh. So, this is stuff that makes me angry. I don't like this. So, one of the big things that annoys me is when people don't take responsibility for their own actions, their own lives, just themselves in general, because they're busy blaming it on God, saying, these great things happen because of God, this bad thing happened because God works in mysterious ways, or this bad thing happened but it's okay because God's going to fix it, or anything like this. I don't like that. I think the idea that, you know, as this article says, man can fix himself, man can fix his life. I think that's fantastic, and I think that's what we should be doing. I think we need to take responsibility for ourselves and our own happiness and the happiness of others around us. We can't rely on some invisible being that we don't know if he's there or not. I think to kind of pass that responsibility onto someone else, whether it's a god or another person or whatever, is just insanely like selfish and stupid, and I don't like it. But to say that free thinking is a method to escape accountability for immoral thinking and behaviour, I think is the complete opposite of all this. I think passing all this stuff onto God and saying, God can fix me, God can fix my life, God can fix all the problems, that is escaping accountability. I think saying, I'm in charge of my life and my happiness, I'm in charge of making the other people around me happy and making my life good and making everyone else's life good, I think that is accepting accountability. Do you know what I mean? I think these people have it backwards. This is quite funny though. It's no wonder there's a sense of puffed up knowledge and arrogance amongst atheists. It's an attitude rooted in pride and self-worship. The last point is that hell awaits the atheist. Which again means nothing to an atheist, because if we don't believe in God, we don't believe in heaven or hell. Like, I don't know what happens after we die, but I'm not afraid of going to hell. So this article says, the problem is hell awaits those who lack a belief in God, and then Bible quotes. Atheism is a suppression of the truth. It is a choice to suppress the existence of God. It just goes on with crap like this, and it's like, if a person does not believe in God, then that person leaves absolutely no room for salvation in his life. Salvation from hell begins first with the faith that God exists. This is stupid. I don't believe we have eternal life. I believe we have this one life and we should live it however makes us happy. In that life we should do whatever it takes to build something amazing that is going to last forever. Whether that's by creating something, whether by that's doing good for other people, or whatever you want. I think it's our responsibility to make sure that the people we love are being treated right, and I don't believe that's God's responsibility, because I don't believe God exists. But the point is, I don't believe there's any salvation. I don't believe there's any hell. And so saying if you're an atheist you'll go to hell is a bit of an empty threat. Anyway, this was just a stupid little article that made me a little bit annoyed. I think its arguments are completely flawed and silly and... Anyway, let me know what you thought of this article. If you want to read it in its full form with all its Bible quotes and things, I will link it in the description below. You can let me know what you think of it. And let me know what you think of this video down in the comments, please. Sorry if this has been a bit of a long one, but if you stuck with me through to this point, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. If you like this video and want to see more atheist content, please let me know, because I've actually had kind of fun making this. I like talking about this sort of thing. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.